connection's a little messy actually.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm keeping it off. I have a difficulty with getting the connection, so
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Umesh, you are live now.
Good evening, all the students and parents who are waiting patiently. So we are gonna start the session now. We have Amisha and Nidhi here. Amisha and Nidhi are ex-BQ students, and I would want each of them to introduce themselves, and then I'll set the agenda in place. Okay, so Nidhi, can you go ahead and please introduce yourself and let us know where you are studying right now?
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Nidhi and I'm studying in NID Haryana. And I wrote all three exams. I wrote NID, NIFT, and UCEED. And my rank in UCEED was 77. My rank in NIFT was 32. And my rank in NID was 112.
112. All right. Okay, perfect. And Nidhi, where are you now? Uh, have you returned to NID yet, or you're
No,
at
I've
Rajasthan?
never been on campus yet, but we've started online classes and we're almost done with one semester.
Wow, wow, that's fantastic. How is the semester going on?
Oh, it's going great. I'm having a lot of fun.
Great, great. Any of the works that you have immediately to quickly show us, like probably you can show your sketchbook or something that you are working on lately.
Okay, sure. I'll just look around and go get some. Till
Sure,
then,
awesome.
maybe Amisha can introduce
Yes,
herself.
yes, yes, yes. Yes, Amisha. So welcome,
um
Amisha.
yeah. Hey guys, my name's Amisha, and I am currently in IIT Bombay, IDC. And I only wrote UCEED. I wrote NATA a year before, and I got All India rank 8.
Fantastic. That's amazing. All right.
Thank you.
So, how is IIT Bombay?
Oh, it's really fun. We've started classes. I think they've been going well for like a month or so,
Okay,
and yeah, it's really fun. Very different.
right, right. So, did you happen to go to IIT Bombay in the campus per se for campus classes or not? It started.
No, no, campus classes haven't started, and I haven't had the chance to visit either because of this whole pandemic situation.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, all right. So, Amisha, do you also have some work that you can share? Probably a project that you're working currently, some sketches or something like that. If
Mm,
you find time, you can get them.
yeah, I
Otherwise,
think
also
I
it's
have
fine.
some on
Okay.
my laptop. I'll just check and get them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Okay. Cool. Um, all right. So, as you must be knowing that the first exam of 2021 is happening on Jan 17th, and then series of exams will happen. Right. So the UC 2021 is on Jan 17th, and a lot of students are preparing for that, and many students have dropped a year because of the pandemic. They wanted to defer a year, and they're also preparing for these design entrance exams very seriously. So we would want to take some of the hard pressing questions of students, since we since they have probably 13 days of time. All right. So, how they can probably utilize their time for the next 13 days and what they have to do in the exam. Okay. So, we can divide this session into two parts. One is what a student will have to do prior to the exam. Okay, considering very less time now. Okay, and what strategy they have to apply now before the exam, and what strategy they have to apply in the exam. Because if you take UCEED as one of the exams, UCEED has negative marking. So every wrong answer you choose, you are losing few marks, right? So how do you avoid that? Okay. So if Nidhi and Amisha, you are back, I would like to start off with one of you, probably Amisha to begin with.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you please tell or give some kind of a overview, like 13 days to the UCEED exam, what the students should be doing now?
Okay, so like I said, I had already been doing a course when I was applying for UCEED. I was doing architecture,
Mm,
and I didn't really get a lot of time to prepare. Actually, the only time I seriously prepared was, I think I started in Jan, in the beginning of Jan. So what I really focused on were past papers, uh, mock tests, and the predicted questions, everything from the DQ Edge website. Those were my
got
main
it.
focus points. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the past papers, the mock tests, and the 501 predicted questions,
Yes.
right? They are the key for success, right? So if students can utilize their time to go through these past year papers and mock tests and 501 questions, they would do fantastically really well. Now, I would want you to explain us how did you go about them? Did you first do the past year papers, or did you do the 501, or did you do the mock papers? So, what was your strategy for for practicing these questions? Can you please throw some light on that?
Yeah. So I started with the past papers. I think I went through them quite quickly because when I was doing the past papers, my main idea was to see where I am currently. So I would just go through them as like without any previous preparation and see where I stood. And I
Mhm,
think I was getting a really low score, around 100 or something. And
mhm,
from then, I isolated the parts where I was losing marks, and then I
mhm,
did the mock questions that were specific to those, and I solved the what is that? Then I solved the past papers again, and
mhm.
yeah, that was the way I solved them. That was the main way.
Great.
Yep.
Okay, great. So, for the participants who are not aware of DQ Edge and what are the questions what Amisha is referring to, I hope you all can see my screen. Okay, so if you want to access this, you can get on to edge.dqlabs.in. You can create an account, a free account, and go to the NID UC course. In that, go to take tests. So in take test, you can find all the questions in the 501. These are the predicted questions, 805 past year questions, mock tests, past papers. All right. So these are the stuff what we are discussing about. Okay. And there are some of the free sets that are available. You can go through the free sets as well. Okay. Fine. So Amisha, why is it important to go through the past year papers?
I think it was important because I wanted to establish a pattern, a level of expectation. Like
Mhm.
when you go through past year papers, you see the kind of question, because even if they don't repeat the questions again, you kind
Mhm.
of understand what skill they're looking for, you know. So there was a lot of deep analysis that I didn't have before when I was writing NATA and stuff.
Right.
But while writing UCEED, I definitely got that.
Okay, so what do you mean by the deep analysis? Can you please explain it further?
What I mean is, I'm not sure how to put it, but it was like before it, there was a lot of surface level questions where it's like, how many lines are there, how many this things.
Um,
But when it's for UCEED, I kind of had to really isolate myself from
um,
everything else to really understand the question itself, because it was
um,
really complicated. So yeah, I know I'm doing a terrible job at explaining what like my thought process is, but
all right.
that's all
Okay,
I've
so
got.
no problem. So you can probably break it down. So we also have one surprise guest today. Amisha, your senior, Darren Lobo.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
He's here. Darren, can we see you?
Hey.
All right. Okay. So wait a minute. Where are you? Yes, Darren. Very nice to see
Hi.
you. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you? How are you,
All
Umesh?
good, all good, all good, man. So you are in which semester now?
I'm in starting my final semester in Jan. I mean, in this month. So like next
Fantastic.
week or
It
something.
doesn't feel like that so soon, man.
Yeah, it was like just the other day I was in
Just the other.
Bangalore and
Yes, yes, yes. Amazing. So, Darren, when you have taken the UCEED, you were of the second batch, right?
second batch. No, I was actually with the third batch at IDC.
You were the third batch. You were the
Yeah,
third batch. Okay, and um, yes. So even though you have taken the exam in 2016, probably
2017.
2017. Yeah.
2017. Yeah.
So even though you would have taken the exam in 2017, the exam itself would have been very challenging one, isn't it? It's because
Yeah.
it's a very unique kind of an exam. All right.
Yeah.
So, I would like to hear from you. What was the strategy that you have adopted before taking the exam?
Uh, so before taking the exam, I think like very similar to Amisha, I was first like looking at the 3 hour papers, just taking 3 hour papers and just attempting them without like studying too much before that, just to get a sense of like what are the kind of questions, what is the weightage to different topics and stuff like that, and moreover to figure out like because I had some experience before that with all these NTSC exams and all. So I wanted to see, okay, like what of my prior knowledge can I leverage over here? What do I have to study again and stuff like that? So once I think I solved like, I solved like both the previous year's UCEED papers, and and I solved a lot of the sample papers from DQ Labs. So then finally, like I got a rough idea of like what are the kind of paths that I need to study more, and from there I like looked up. It was called Metacog at that time. Like it was not DQ. We didn't have DQ Edge at that time. It's called Metacog. So yeah,
Right.
so through that I like just studied the chapters that I didn't know, and
Hmm.
then there was that 501 questions. Oh yeah, this one,
Yes.
which is on the screen.
Yes. 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 The 501
So
questions. Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
I remember like revising that like one night before the exam in Sean's house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
Cool.
fun.
Yes. 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 All right. So, so it's quite interesting to know that your strategy was also to go through the past year papers
Yeah.
and then identify the gaps and probably study further, do a little bit more research on those topics,
Yeah.
and then you have attempted the 501 questions. So,
Hmm. And
uh,
also like while giving the papers, like to set a timer for 3 hours,
uh,
because like it's tempting to like take a like when there's a challenging question to spend time on it,
hmm,
but I was just like very particular about like if I can't solve a question quickly, I'll just move to the next one, and after 3 hours I'll reevaluate what I missed out on. So
all right. So when you're practicing the past year papers as well, you have timed yourself,
time, yeah,
right? So that is
yeah,
one of the key that you're saying. It's very helpful,
yeah.
right? Great. Okay. So we are talking about the UCEED entrance exam because that is a first exam that all the students are going to face because there's a first exam, national level exam that is happening on 17th of Jan. And then we'll be having the NIFT in February. And then NID has not yet announced their process. And then probably the JE would happen and then the NATA would happen. But what I would like to tell is the strategy for preparing for any of these exams is pretty much the
Same.
same. Go through the past year papers. Absolutely important when you're doing it, time yourself. Number one. Secondly, go through the predicted questions. The predicted questions are available on DQ Edge. It is important that you go through them again, a timed version, and then you can do the mock test, right? And Darren, how many times did you revise the past year papers?
I did the paper like I did it once roughly like, and like I made a lot of mistakes the first time around, and after that I did it like once again, like by like I tried to do it the third time, but the third time I already remembered all the answers, so it was like not worth it. So the twice is like twice per paper. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And probably if there is a time gap or delay between the first attempt and the second attempt, that would really help.
yeah, that would be
Otherwise,
better. Like
you tend
if
to,
there's like two
yeah,
weeks or you should keep like a 2 week gap or something between the.
yes, yes. Otherwise,
But now I
you
don't know if there's
easily
2 weeks.
recollect the answer and then you say, okay,
Yeah,
I don't have to solve it.
yeah.
Okay, great.
At least like 1 week gap. I think they can keep like a 1 week gap. Today's fourth. If they do a bunch of papers today, tomorrow, they can take a week gap and go at
Yes,
it again.
yes, yes. All right. So let us ask Nidhi. Nidhi, how did you prepare for the UCEED and NID exam? What did you do prior to the exam?
I think it has most of the points have already been covered by Amisha and Darren. So even I completely depended on the past year papers. And you can also go through SEED because that also helped me
Oh, yeah.
understand how the questions have been asked.
Right.
And apart from that, yeah, any mental ability book you can find, like the reasoning book by Arihant, and
Hmm.
anything else which you think can help you sharpen your mental ability, that's also useful.
Hmm.
One interesting thing I found was there's this channel called TED and they have a riddle section, and
Hmm.
one of the riddles in that channel was very similar to a question asked in UC. It was about crossing a bridge or something,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
time taken,
Hmm.
and that was very similar to that. So I think they're really trying to come up with new ways of asking questions and trying to diversify that.
Right, right. All right. So you made a great point saying that the seed questions, you have reviewed the seed questions as well, and they also were helpful, right? So yes, in fact, if you consider the NID, UG, NID, PG, seed, and UCEED, all the entrance exams, I personally find the UCEED questions to be the toughest compared to other questions, right? And guys, all those who are listening, now this we are talking about the last minute preparation. Okay, now what you have to be doing now is focus on practicing answering the past year papers within the time limit. Okay, now how to answer them within the time limit, we are going to dwell a little, spend a little time on that. But Darren, could you please introduce yourself? Couple of attendees are saying they would want to know about you more.
All right. Yeah. So I'm from Mangalore. I'm Sean's cousin actually. Sean D. Sally. Probably
Hmm.
not. So yeah, I'm from Mangalore. I wrote UCEED in 2017, and I've been studying at IDC for the last 4 years. So now I'm actually like getting into UI UX design, and I got placed at Flipkart recently, so I'll be joining there in July.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
how was your internship with Microsoft was?
Oh, yeah, that was very interesting. But it was supposed to be in Hyderabad, but then because of this whole pandemic and all that, it was shifted online. But it was still like worth it. It was a lot of fun,
Okay, great.
a
Awesome.
lot of learning, and like a lot of like fascinating people. So
Okay, okay. Great. So, all the three of you, Amisha, Nidhi, and Darren, you have used DQ Labs platform, right? Now, and Nidhi has shared one resource saying that, okay, TED Ed was one of the channels that was very helpful. Especially they have this, what is that, Nidhi, you said? They have some mental ability
puzzles,
related
Yeah,
puzzles,
they
uh,
had
puzzles.
a
Yeah.
riddle section.
riddles. Yeah.
Riddle section. So guys, you can take that as a tip, and you can probably look into TED Ed, their videos as well. And apart from the DQ Edge material, did you refer any other material that was helpful for you?
Mm, I personally didn't actually because, like I said, mine was very last minute too. So I was just completely focused on Edge. I didn't use anything else.
Okay, great, Amisha. Nidhi.
I used this book
Arihant,
called Reasoning by Arihant,
Hmm.
and that I wouldn't say it was of the UCEED level because some of the questions were actually a little easier than what were asked in UCEED, but it really helped me get to the level of questions in UCEED. And of course, math. I did not study math in 11th and 12th, so I had to get extra resources for math, and I would just go through some basic questions from RD Sharma or whatever. Like I had to learn permutation and combination because that was something I didn't know. So to learn the basics of that, I would refer to math books and practice whatever I could.
Okay, great, awesome. How about you, Darren?
Yeah, I think I was also mostly I was using Metacog at that time by DQ Labs. And I just flipped through the Arihant book a little bit that Nidhi was talking about. But I think mostly it was like, for me, it was Metacog and the past year papers.
Past year
So,
paper. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All right, great. So now that we have understood the importance of the past year papers, the 501 predicted questions, and the mock tests, okay, I would want to dig deeper into the insights DQ Edge provides, or previously known as Metacog provides. All right. So what I recommend is all the participants who are out there on YouTube chat, please go to edge.dqlabs.in. Okay, so type in create an account, come to the NID UCEED course, go to past year papers. All right, so in this NID BDES 2019 is available for free. I would want you to access this. Now, when you're attempting the past year papers, there are two approaches you can take. Okay, of course, these past year papers are also available on IIT Bombay website, UCEED website. All the past year papers are available. And we have also made them available on our DQ Edge platform. Now, there is a fundamental difference of approach of attempting the past year papers on UCEED website as a PDF and the questions that we have collated on DQ Edge. Now, the primary difference is, okay, instead of me telling, I would want one of you, Darren or Nidhi or Amisha, to throw some light on that, especially if you're answering the aptitude questions or the theory questions. Okay, so DQ Edge has a unique way of recording your answer choices and gives back some information, right? So can anyone of you throw some light on that?
You want me to take this? Nidhi?
Yeah.
You want me to take this?
Yes, Darren.
All
Please
right,
go
sure.
on.
So, yeah, so one of the most interesting things about the software that DQ Labs uses is that, like when you're filling in an answer, you fill in the confidence level, like whether you fill in how you got to that answer, which is actually the most important thing, right? Like, so whether you've used the theory behind it, whether you use some formula, or if you've taken, like if you've eliminated some options and guessed from the remaining options. And I think the other option was like a random guess. So you when you do we still use that, Umesh?
Yes, yes. So we
That's
have
still
the
there, right?
knowledge of formula
Yeah.
as a first approach. Second approach is elimination, and the
Yeah.
third approach is random.
Random,
There are
yeah.
three approaches. Yes.
And like it tracks these three metrics separately, and you get a separate sort of pie chart that tells you how many known answers you got wrong, how many um, educated guesses you got wrong, and stuff like that. So that helps you, like, it helps you figure out what are the things you know that you don't know, and what are the things you don't know that you don't know. So that's pretty helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Amisha, would you like to add something on this?
Yeah, what really helped me out was it also segregates all the questions into the different topics, and it tells you out of the topics how much you scored right and how much you scored wrong. So that's what was really beneficial for me because I was able to see which topics I was lacking in and where I need to work on.
Hmm. Nidhi, would you like to add?
Apart from what Darren and Amisha said, I really like the explanation that is given at the end when you finish your paper. They give a very nice explanation as to what's the correct answer for each question. And I also like that graph. It shows how many questions you have answered using knowledge or using elimination or using random choice, which are your danger topics and which are the topics you're most familiar with. And that graph really helps you track and find out where you need to focus.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So let me see if we can. Nidhi, would you mind if I pull up your statistics on DQH and probably show?
I wouldn't mind, but I don't know how good they are.
It doesn't matter. Now you're in a top premier school, so the marks doesn't matter now anyway, right? Okay, so let me share my screen. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh yeah. All right. Okay. Um, all right. So I'm sharing my screen. Right. So, in fact, just for all your information, Nidhi was one of the students who has got the most XP points on DQ Edge, which means that she has done thorough job. Can anybody guess how many XP points you would have got? Any guesses, Darren? Can you guess how many XP points?
I the XP system was like after my time, so I'm not sure.
After,
Yeah.
all right, so she has got some 58,000 XP points. That is like really cool, amazing stuff. Now that has become a benchmark for all the students of DQ Labs. So whenever we tell, we tell them to breach the 58,000 mark. You know, so that's pretty cool, Nidhi. Okay, so just to give a little more explanation of, let us take one of the exams. Okay, and I'll just show what Nidhi was talking about in terms of the segregation of the marks, right? So let us take see the UCEED. If there is a UCEED one. All right. So UCEED 2015. Okay. So now I click on that. I can go into the score anatomy of Nidhi. All right. By the way, Nidhi, how many marks did you get in UC?
I don't really remember, but it was around 160. I think it was somewhere around
All right.
161.
Okay. Fine. In the 2015 paper, you have scored 204 out of 300. All right. So this is the beauty of this system. So once you finish your test, it basically tells you what is your total score, 204 out of 300, and how many marks you lost, and what could be your true score. That is 222 is what you could have scored, provided you have probably carefully avoided answering some questions, right? Okay. And this also kind of shows the pie chart, which shows, okay, how many were answered through elimination and how many were answered through knowledge or formula. And it kind of also shows the accuracy of various approaches. Like for example, knowledge and formula, the accuracy is 42%. For elimination, the accuracy is 78%. Okay. Now, this is the kind of information that is required for us to crack the system, right? Now, this information the IIT guys also do not know. They have no clue. They only know if you got it right. They do not know that you have used elimination and got it right. But that kind of a crucial information is useful for you so that you can strategize your preparation. Okay. And what is also very important is, for example, Nidhi has attempted 7 through knowledge and formula, and she got 4 wrong. Now those are the danger topics because she has she believed that she got the right answer. She found the right answer in the options, and then she got it wrong, which means that there is something wrong either in the approach or in your concept or in the application part. And what we do here, what DQH does it here is it clearly shows a list of cards categorizing into 3 different topics. One is danger topics, scoring topics, and master topics. All right. So the danger topics, like for example, for 2015 paper for Nidhi, the danger topics were counting shapes and patterns, counting lines, equipment and terms, and mirroring. Okay. Now, these danger topics will be different for different students. Even for you, when you answer it, you get different danger topics, right? So this is very highly unique and personalized kind of a feedback. And we will also the importance of or significance of danger topics is these are the topics that you need to immediately attend to and basically deconstruct or unlearn and relearn the topic so that you don't do such kind of a mistakes again. And if you thoroughly crack it, then you would be probably gaining 15 marks by attending this topic and 3 marks attending this topic and etc. Now, Okay, and then DQ Edge also tells you which are the scoring topics. I mean, which are the topics that you study immediately, you have a greater probability of increasing your score by maybe 6 marks, 10 marks, and etc. And it also tells you the master topics, which basically talks about the topics you don't have to spend further time on because you have mastered those topics. Now, this kind of a crucial information you would not get when you answer paper and pen past year papers or through PDFs or through any other methods. So that is a crucial advantage what DQ students get, and that is a key differentiator of their preparation for getting great marks. Okay, and it also kind of shows the very interesting graph which talks about the subject performance, right? So as you can see here, okay, she has to really work on mathematics, and that is what she has also identified, isn't it? Because permutations and combinations is what she was talking about, and probably that is a topic that she needs to spend more time in, and that is where she is not gaining any marks. And you can see the green graph, the green area, which tells the mastery of the particular subject. Okay, so this kind of overall gives you where you stand in each of the mock past year papers that you address and answer. And not only that, when you go to my answers, you can filter all the questions based on the subject. Like for example, in 2015 paper, there were some analytical reasoning questions. So you can order all the analytical reason questions in one click. So these are all the analytical reasoning questions. And you can see here, Nidhi has got all of them correct. So no problem in that analytical reasoning. Okay. And similarly, you can look at mental ability questions. Now here you can see there are some questions that she got wrong. So just she can click on those questions and she can review them. And also she was talking about the explanation. So explanation is here. She can identify what is the right answer and understand how to solve it. Right? So let us look into the mathematics. There were a couple of questions on the mathematics front. This is not actually mathematics kind, but these are all logical based applied mathematics. All right. So you can, this is the beauty of this. See, imagine you go through 100 questions on the paper, and then it is not about knowing what is right, what is wrong. It is trying to identify the topics and subtopics where you are making mistakes or where you're making errors, and what kind of errors you are making, and getting conscious uh, trying to be conscious about those errors so that you do not repeat those errors in the final exam. Okay. So that is the beauty of answering all the past year papers on DQ Edge. Okay. Now, this is about prior to preparing for the exam. Okay. Now let us go into the actual exam. Okay. Because UCEED has negative marking and JE has negative marking, and NIFT might have a negative marking. I'm not sure this year what they are doing about. Okay. But nevertheless, I would want to understand from Darren. Okay, so what was your strategy while taking the exam? Okay.
This is so good. I just saw your face and I was like,
Darren, you're there? Darren? All right, so I'm not sure Darren is available. All right, so any one of you.
Hi. Yeah, sorry, I was offline for a second.
Sure. So Darren, we would want to understand what was your strategy to reduce the negative marks, okay, and increase your positive marks. What strategy did you follow in the exam?
Um, so, yeah, I would just generally, I would never guess anything randomly. I would always try to eliminate one option at least. So at that time I'd done the math, and it was something like you have to, like, I figured out what's the probability for each, right? Like if you cut one option, if you cut two options, what's the probability of getting it right? What's the average marks and all? So I figured out that if you can eliminate one option, it's worth guessing in the first section. So I just used that and I went forward.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's a very important tip. Okay, whenever you want to guess, um, try to eliminate as many answer options as possible, so that your odds of getting it correct will be increased tremendously. Don't blindly guess. Don't take a coin and say Jai Mata Di, A, B, C, D. No, don't do that. Use your brains, your experience, past experience, and your prior knowledge to eliminate some of the answer options and then do. All right. So, Darren, did you have any kind of a target saying that, okay, I need to attend or attempt X number of questions out of Y number of questions? Did you have any target like that?
No, no, I just so for me, I didn't. I actually aimed to attempt all the questions, like as
Mm-hmm.
in to read each question at least once. That was my goal.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could not get the answer, I had something like if I could not get the answer in like 40 seconds or something, I would just move on to the next question. Like I was like very quickly just running through questions so
Right.
that I never miss an easy question. So I read every question at least once, and
Right.
then loop back and like whatever they allow you to mark the ones which you have difficulty in.
Right.
So I was like, okay, this one's taking me more than 40 seconds. I'll mark it and come back to it later. So I just did it in iterations, the whole paper.
Okay, okay, okay. So, Amisha, what was your strategy to reduce the negative marking?
Yeah, actually, it's very similar to Darren. So I had a 30-second rule for each question. So
Okay,
if I got the question in 30 seconds, I'd immediately mark it and move on. If
okay,
I had a kind of intuition that I was getting close to an answer, but like the time was ticking, I
mhm,
would mark it and then immediately move on. So after I'd gone through all the questions, I'd loop back and especially pay more attention to the ones that I'd marked. And yeah, like that, iterations.
all right. So, did you had a target number that you wanted to reach, like X number of questions I need to attempt for sure?
Oh, not exactly. I didn't have a target number like that. What I had in mind was I need to go over every single question at least twice, and
Okay,
yeah, and some of them I even went over thrice, I think, if I got the time.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Nidhi, what was your strategy?
Yes, again similar, but I try to do the first section first because that does not have negative marking. So I try to attempt, I think I attempted all the questions. So whether I thought it was right or wrong, I just took a chance and did it because there was no negative marking for the first section. Then I did MCQ because some questions in MCQ are actually quite easy. There were perspective questions and basic visualization, all of that. I finished the easy questions first because I knew that time was a constraint and I couldn't go. I didn't try to attempt all the questions. I just did the ones I knew. And there were some questions I knew that I didn't know absolutely. I knew that I wouldn't be able to finish it on time. So I just straight away left those questions.
Okay. So, before answering the test, did you have a target number of questions that you wanted to answer?
No, not
Nothing like that.
really. I just
Okay.
went in with an open mind and I thought, no targets, let's just see how many I can answer.
All right. Okay. 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 So, a few important points here. Having a 30-second or a 40-second rule, if you are able to solve a question within that time, it is worth solving. If it is taking more time, just leave it there and go to the next question. And going through the paper multiple times, answering them, whichever are easy to answer them first in the first round, and then whichever you feel you can answer can be marked or tagged in the screen so that you can revisit them. All right. So these are a couple of important tips. And uh, the 2020 paper and the 2019 paper, okay, especially the 2020 paper, had the sketching part. That was the first time I think it was introduced to have this sketching in the exam, right? In UCEED especially.
Yeah.
So, how did you guys manage that, Nidhi?
I actually was preparing for NID and NIFT, right? So I was preparing for sketching along with UCEED. So that wasn't that much of a problem because thankfully these two were pretty heavy on sketching. So all my concepts were being revised for those two exams.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a shock. It was scary, but it's very manageable. Like if you can manage the NID timing, UC timing also, 30 seconds is, 30 minutes is definitely manageable. And the question was actually easier compared to the NID sketching questions
Okay.
because it was a straightforward question. We just had to make sure that whatever they had given in the question was drawn.
Right.
We didn't really have to do. We didn't really have to think too much or anything. It was a pretty technical question.
Right. And the sketching question was also quite descriptive, saying there are
Yeah.
so many things, the position of
Yes.
them, and etc. etc. So as you said, it is a quite a technical kind of a drawing question, right? Not a creative thinking kind of
But
a question, right?
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but there were people who actually attempted it quite creatively. For
Okay.
example, one of my friends, I think there was a diet book mentioned. There was a book mentioned,
Mhm.
and it was mentioned that it was used as a paperweight.
Mhm.
But you were left to place the book wherever. You could either place it as a paperweight or you could use it as something else. So
Mhm.
she had put it in the dustbin instead of putting it as a paperweight. I found that very hilarious. And also, there were some little details, like she said she has a headache. So you could have drawn headache pills to show that
Right.
she's been trying to do something about her headache. So there were ways you could play around with that question, and there were ways
Right.
you could make it
Right.
creative.
Great. Amisha, how was the sketch question for you?
For me, the sketching question was a godsend actually. Sketching, sketching was my strong suit, so
Okay.
I was really glad that it was there.
Okay.
And I had already prepared for technical sketching a year ago for NATA,
Mhm.
and I had a strong base in perspective and the technical aspect of it.
Mhm.
But I attended a couple of sketching classes where I learned more about having thinking outside the box. So
Mhm.
the first time I actually got to apply that was for this question, and yeah, I did. I did go for a bit more of a creative approach rather than a technical one. So
Okay.
I had like the paperweight, and I put a plate of samosas on top of the diet book,
Okay.
and I put like posters with math
Okay.
puns on them,
Right.
and stuff like that. So yeah, that was my method of attempting that part.
Okay. Did you guys shade it or did you guys color it?
We didn't color. I mean, I didn't color. I just did a
Okay.
little basic shading, maybe some textures here wherever I could and some shadows wherever I could.
Hmm.
Yes, same, same.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. Now, there is a question that is floating in the forum, okay, on the YouTube live chat about the general knowledge. How did you prepare for the general knowledge? Could you guys throw some light on that?
For me, like I said, general knowledge was just those daily quiz things that was there on the website,
Yes.
and there was a general knowledge section as well, right? I mean, there were a lot of general knowledge sections about artists and
Hmm.
stuff like that. Yeah, I just went through those. And I used to read the paper whenever I could, like
Okay.
because some current affairs had also come in a couple of previous papers, I think, but that
Right.
was for NIDF, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. How about Nidhi?
Yes, I had to do GK for NID.
Hmm.
So parallelly, I was doing it for UCEED. I expected the GK to be very tough because into 2019, I felt the GK was actually quite difficult.
Hmm.
So, but then I got a big surprise when I saw the paper. There was zero GK questions, no GK, absolutely none whatsoever. So
Right.
in a way, it's good because GK is, there's a luck factor there. You either know
Yes.
it or you don't know
Yes.
it. In a
Yes.
way, it's good, but yeah, definitely it was very surprising to see no GK in UCEED.
Right. 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 And how about Darren?
I was always super interested in GK, so
Okay.
I used to read this really fat Manorama book.
Right.
Uh, they used to they I don't know if they still do, but they publish it every year.
They do.
So
They
2015,
do.
2016.
Yeah.
So I used to read those fat books, and in general, I used to like watch a lot of news and Nat Geo and stuff like that. Nat Geo and Discovery Channel and stuff like that. So I think all of that, like I didn't study for it, but I think all of like different things helped me with GK.
Okay, okay, great, awesome. All right. So there are two things that has come out from this discussion. Okay, one I would like to highlight for all the YouTube participants is about what Amisha has said: daily quiz GK. Now the daily quiz GK, if you're able to see my screen, okay, so it is available on this tab on the right corner, right? Okay, so you click on that. Every day there will be 10 different new questions that are asked, and these questions are not repeated. Sometimes they are repeated if they are important, and you can start attempting those questions on a daily basis. Okay, and that will improve your understanding, awareness of what is happening all around you. Okay, so these questions will mostly be about art, architecture, culture, religion, and politics. Not much of politics, but in terms of design, architecture, fashion, right? All across the world, right? So very interesting questions are put forward every day, and please make use of this facility and answer it. So that is a very slow way of trying to improve your awareness. And again, I always repeat this: whenever you get wrong answer, like you choose an answer and it has got wrong, I would want you to ponder and research why you got it wrong. You need to go to the roots of the problem and understand and correct it from there. So once you do that, from next time onwards, you will never do that mistake. Okay, and another little feature that is available on DQ Edge is a track of the kind of questions that come over a period of time. So let us say you go to NID UCEED and go to the Learn section and you scroll down, you can find this heat map, syllabus heat map. Okay, it is showing NID BDES. Okay, it is showing paper till 2019. And it is also showing various topics and the number of questions that were asked in those topics. Now, very interesting thing. General knowledge in 2016, there was 60 questions on general knowledge. Very interesting to know. Okay, and in 2019, there are 10 questions on general knowledge in NID BDES. The NID BDES 2020 paper will be updated here soon. But it is very interesting to see the pattern that is changing over a period of time. The focus goes on different topics by the exam setters. But anyhow, you'll get an understanding of all these, right? Let us see UCEED. Let us check the UCEED. 12 days to left. Okay, January 17th is exam. Now 2015 to 2020, you can see how the things are changing. Now in 2015 paper, again, there were 37 GK questions. In 2020, there are 10 GK questions. Um, now, general knowledge here is very broad. Okay, we have divided them into very detailed sections. So it just not means that general knowledge is a question like, okay, who is the Prime Minister of India? That is a direct general knowledge, but there are associated questions related. Okay, so all that put together, there are about 10 that my team has identified in 2020. Okay, you can also see the emphasis that is going through. I mean, mental ability and visual spatial ability questions are always given high priority. So that is one area where you can put more effort. And you can see English in 2018, there are 13 questions related to English, and 2020, there are 0 questions. Okay. So it is a very interesting heat map which helps you understand what is happening in the exam. So similarly, you can check for various other exams as well here. You want to check for NIFT, you have to log into NIFT and then check. Similarly for NATA. Okay. Now, um, you know that these are the kind of questions that are being asked. I mean, at least let's say mental ability, you have 25, 18, 22, 17, 29, 22 questions. Now, where do you access these questions? So on DQ Edge, we have segregated all these questions and categorized into small sets. So that it becomes easy for you to answer those questions. So where you can access that is go to take tests and go to past year questions, and these are the various sets. Like all the visual based 3D questions are put into set 1, 2, 3. You can find all those questions over here, and when you go there and answer those, you get more specific specific questions related to only that particular topic, and you can thoroughly practice it. Okay, that's number one. And yes, so so all the three of you guys have done extensive practice on past year papers, mock tests, and etc. etc. So how did you revise the questions that you got wrong? Did you revise it just before the exam? Any thoughts on that?
How did I revise? I actually went and checked. You know how there is that section that shows you which questions you got wrong and which questions you
Mhm.
got right. Like you can check your past papers and their and
Hmm.
how you scored on them. So that's what I used. I went through those and I just went through the questions again. Like
Hmm.
just looked over them. I the night before I actually didn't want to stress too much, so I didn't really revise a lot. Yeah.
All right. Okay. 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 Cool. Nidhi.
Yes, sir, can you please repeat the question?
So you had practiced or gone through past year papers, mock tests, and 501 predicted questions, and all of that. Okay. Did you take any effort in revising them just before the exam, like 1 or 2 days
Not
prior to the exam?
No, not just for the exam. I actually had my pre-boards going on.
Okay.
The day before UCEED, I had my chemistry pre-board. So I went ahead and I wrote that, and then I was so worried about what's going to happen to UCEED. But
Right.
luckily, I had prepared for UCEED on every single holiday I had, every single Dasra, Diwali, Christmas, everything. So I think my prior preparation actually helped me, and
Hmm.
don't stress out the day before the exam. It's never a good idea. Just try to relax, and whatever, if you've practiced well, then on the day it'll all be fine.
Right. Right. Darren.
I agree with what Nidhi said. Like, I mean, don't take too much stress on the last day and just. Um, but I actually did a speed run of the 501 questions. So like, don't do that. Don't. I was enjoying it, so I stayed up till like I just had this nervous energy before the exam. I was like looking forward to it, and at the same time nervous. So
Okay.
I felt like I just did a speed run. I went through all the 501 questions, and I
Hmm.
slept very late also. But please don't do that. I mean, I would seriously recommend just like getting some rest. The
Right.
like 1 or 2 days leading up to the exam, and just don't take too
Right.
much stress.
All right. Okay, great. Okay. So we have recently introduced a small tool, okay, which is called as revision. If you can see my screen on the profile page, you can see this revision button, right? So I'm not sure if you're able to see my page.
Yeah, we can see a screen, Amish.
You're able to see my screen, right? Okay, great, awesome. Okay, yeah. So you see this revise revision tab. Click on that, and what it does is it gives you select subject and select category. Okay, and you can choose the topic that you would like to revise. Like let us say analytical reasoning. Let us say analytical reasoning. Okay, and then select the category. Okay, so you basically get the category, and you can choose a category, and you can basically identify all the questions that you got wrong, only the questions that you got wrong, and you can easily quickly navigate through them. And what happens is it kind of refreshes your memory in terms of what mistakes you have done, where you have to be caution careful, and etc etc. Okay, that is a little tool that is helpful. um, I would also want to emphasize on the 501 questions what Darren said that he has gone through the last night, a day before. Now, these 501 questions, you got to understand what these questions are. Okay, so we have done an extensive study of all the kind of questions that have been asked in UCEED and SEED and NID papers, and we have identified certain gaps in the subjects where they have not yet asked such questions, and we have captured those subjects, and we have created few questions on those. So as you know that the NID, UCEED, CEED, these are the creative exams, and the exam setters are designers and they don't want to repurpose the already asked questions. They always want to ask something new, something really which comes as a surprise to the student, right? So the 501 questions belong to that kind of a category where which were not asked in the prior exams, right? And they have some special value attached to it. Once you know those topics, those questions, once you go through those questions and become familiar with them, so your ability to eliminate the wrong answers in the exam will increase. It's not that the same questions would come, but by the knowledge that you gain, the awareness that you gain by answering these 501 questions will enable you to smartly answer the questions that are asked in the exam. Okay. So so that's about it. So there are a few questions about the drawing section. Um, Students are asking what you have to do to increase your probability of getting more marks in part B, the drawing section. So Amisha, would you like to share some thoughts on that?
I get this question a lot actually, and the problem with it is I think our batch was the first one to have this drawing section, right? So even we are kind of confused about what is right and what was wrong. So all I can say is what I did, which is like I said, technical. The technical part was like perfect. It was there were no mistakes there, and the out of the box thinking, kind of adding your own little touch to each drawing.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Okay, all right. So did you upload any of the sketches?
Oh no, no, I didn't. Oh,
All right.
I didn't upload them.
So I was curious to see yours.
I was pretty close to the I was pretty close to
Yeah,
DQ,
you said
right?
you
The
ran.
Malaysia one.
Yes,
So I
right,
used to
right.
come for physical classes.
Okay, okay, okay. But
Yeah.
anyway, we can review some of the sketches of Nidhi. Okay, so what you see here is the documentation of all the work done by Nidhi. Okay, and she has put in a lot of effort. She has put in a lot of passion, and she did with love, right? So I'm damn sure she will be very successful in her profession because the kind of passion, aptitude, attitude that she has shown in the two years that she was with DQ Labs was amazing, right? And all these were some of her sketches. Okay, let us go
Thank
through.
Thank you, sir. But I just wanted to say it's all thanks to you and Sean, sir. Like, if the teachers are good, you automatically feel like putting more effort into the subject. So it's really all thanks to you.
Oh, cool, cool. Thank you so much. But see, one thing is how students take the feedback that we give. Okay, so whatever feedback we give with the intention of helping you improve. Okay, now the amazing thing with Nidhi is whatever feedback we give, she implements it and she redoes the work. Not many people do that. They will listen and they will think, okay, I will do in the next assignment. Okay, but the real key is when you receive this feedback and you implement and redo the assignment, that is where you can see tremendous improvement. Okay, and it all depends on how much effort you are willing to put in to basically improve your work. Okay, so let us see a couple of sketches like this. The question is like you are sitting in a train on the upper berth, you are looking down, you can see a lady with her son sitting on the lower berth opposite to you. Yeah, so this is a question, and this was one of her attempts. You can see this hand in the foreground, like holding a railing, so that kind of gives a lot of depth. So somebody were asking, how do you get more marks in the part B of sketching? So there are certain parameters that you all have to keep a track of. So there are these 8, 12, 11 parameters that are given here for self-rating. The wow factor, 3D composition, shades and shadows, textures, drawing skill, perspective correctness, neatness, clarity, appropriateness of sketch, relevant elements, creative ability, foreground, background. Now, these are some of the things that you can or you have to look into. And guys, this is another great feature DQ Labs has, the DQ Edge has. Now, you see, once you upload a question for one of the sketches, right, and once you self-create, The beauty is you can see all the attempts done by other students. Now, for example, you look at this sketch done by others, which is, what do you guys think? This is pretty cool, isn't it? Right? So it was pretty much drawn in one point perspective, but I really love this sketch, right? It's very, very nicely, neatly done. Okay, so now you get this kind of inputs or exposure when you start using our platform for your preparation, even in the last minute. Now, I really love the way this guy's goggles have been drawn here. Did you notice that? And also the slippers. And you can see the guy sitting at the beneath, okay, and his legs. Beautifully drawn, beautifully drawn. Now, this kind of a work can be figured out when you upload your sketches on DQH. The beauty of that is your own exposure will tremendously improve. Your awareness of how a sketch can be done can be tremendously improved. Like for example, Nikita has done a similar kind of a sketch, right? So we encourage all our DQ students to upload this sketch and self-evaluate, peer evaluate, and send it for the correction by the student. I also love Rajul's work. Now this is Rajul Jain. She could not attend today's session. She has also got into one of the NIDs, but this is one of the sketches she has done. I really love the attitude of the people in the train. Like for example, how this girl is bindas like sleeping in the train, and look at the expression on the face, and see how this guy is talking over the phone. Okay, how this mom is taking care of the child. Okay, so very nicely done, and it has a very 3D perspective effect. You see how these chains are drawn, okay, how the supports are drawn, how these steps are drawn, and also observe the coloring aspect. You don't have to really make it like an artistic kind of a coloring exercise, but you can give a tinge of color and texture to the sketch so that it looks beautiful. All right, so I hope that helps in terms of the sketching part. And if you have any other questions, you please feel free to ask in the live chat. I really have to appreciate Nidhi and Darren are on the live chat, and they are also answering their the questions what students are asking. Thank you so much, Nidhi, Amisha, and Darren. Thank you so much for your time. And would you have any last minute tips from each of you that you would like to share with the students?
I think mine would just be like, get some rest, like take it. It's going to be okay. Like give it with a clear, like fresh mind, and like don't stress too much about it.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with him because that was like one main difference that I had. I've in writing this exam as opposed to all the other exams I've written, I was completely relaxed for writing this one, and it went extremely well. So
Hmm. Hmm. All right. Nidhi?
Yes, definitely. Don't take it easy. Don't worry. It's not the end of the world.
Hmm.
And if you're having trouble balancing both school and design exams, I would say for now focus on your design exams because that's what's important right now.
Right.
And you will have time to prepare for your board exams once your design exams are over. That's what I did, and my board exams went fine. In fact, they were so much better than my school exams. So board exams will be easy. They're not going to be very difficult. And yeah, so focus on your design exams because you do want to get into a good college, right? So it's important that you put in your focus for that now. So that would be my suggestion. And I'd say best of luck. You all got this. You're all amazing. I know some of my juniors and they're all amazing. I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Right. Right. It is very important to maintain your cool and composure during the exam. Please take the exam as a kind of a game that you really enjoy. In fact, it is a kind of a game that you will enjoy, and you would not know how the time would have passed. And thoroughly enjoy the exam and give you 100%, and go there with a positive attitude, with a positive and energetic attitude. Things will work out for you, for all of you. Even though there are few ranks, few few seats, but That is for IIT, but you also have other avenues like NID and NIFT and SPAs and etc. Right? So you would definitely, if you're passionate, you're dedicated, you're sincere, you will definitely get into one of the top national institutes for sure. All right, great. So if you have any questions, last questions, please share it in the chat window. And there is a NID UCEED crash course, a 10-day crash course that has been launched. So the detail is there on the pinned post. Please click on that and make use of that facility. Uh, please go through the practice questions, the mock test, and 501. Absolutely important, guys. If you're serious about getting into top institutes, please follow the advices of the toppers that are there in front of you. Okay.
Yeah, Umesh, can you give me a screen sharing, please?
Yes, I'm stopping my screen. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. So I'm sure all the students of DQ Labs will have no issues. They've already been with us for quite some time. But for those who are not from DQ Labs, I've pinned this link on the YouTube chat. The problem is you cannot click on that link, so you need to copy and paste in your URL and remove the spaces. All right. But on this, there are the details of the crash course, what day, what class is happening. So just in case those who want to sign up for this, the crash course starts tomorrow. Please, here at the bottom there is this chat window. You can chat here, put in your details, and our counselors will get back to you. What you get in this crash course is given to you in terms of learn and take a test, and all the information is here. You can go through that. More importantly, some of you are going to see this and join. Some of you are going to say, oh, I missed the bus. Some of you are going to join later in the during the week, and you're going to miss some classes. So please, at whatever stage you are, those who entirely miss this, and because this is being played on YouTube live, so some of you may watch this at a much later date. um, Whatever your situation is, please connect with us, chat with us on this chat window, and give us your details. We will tell you when the next batch is, or in case you missed one or two classes, how you can watch the recordings of those classes. All those information we'll share with you. Our counselors will be ready to answer your questions. In case they do not answer, please leave your details. They will get back to you within a couple of, within a day or so. All right. Otherwise, you could connect with us on 959 108 5005. All right, that is the number that you can get onto, and I will also type that into our chat window. Umesh, over to you.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Dion. So before we close, Nidhi, did you get an opportunity to get the work? Could you quickly show us what you're working on these days?
Yes, sure. But yeah, I couldn't find all of them, but
No
I just
problem. Some of the
picked
work,
up
yes.
whatever I had lying around.
Yes. Yes.
We recently did this fun exercise where we pixelated the Mona Lisa. So this is
Nice.
one of my favorite ones to do. It was they actually zoom into your work and see if each pixel is applied properly. If it's a little out of place, they will tell you to make correct that. So, but it was a very fun exercise. Then we made some textures. This is just random textures, whatever you want. We could go crazy with it. We just made some patterns, and you could use ink, pen, and take inspiration around you and just make whatever you wanted. And this is a dot exercise. We had to listen to a song and we had to represent it through dots. So I found that quite interesting. Like at first I didn't understand how I could do it, how I could represent it through dots, but if you close your eyes you can actually see it in dots. So I found these three quite interesting. The others, I actually need to look if they're all scattered all over the place right now. But yeah, we've been doing a lot of fun. We've been doing a lot of fun exercises in NID. It's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth uh, the
Yeah,
studying and the process to get in.
yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool. All right, great work though. Very interesting work that you have done. Okay. Darren, do you have something to show? Any of your latest projects which are not confidential?
Yeah, that's um, yeah. I mean, I guess like so. I've actually been working on more UI UX related projects and stuff like that because we're getting into our final year and sort of things are more branching off into different streams. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, my work is all up on my portfolio. Like, should I share screen or something, or I mean,
Oh,
should
yes,
I?
yes, yes, yes. I will give you the access to it.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's most of my work that's not confidential is on my is my screen being shared?
Yeah, we can see your screen. Yes.
Yeah. So most of my stuff is on my website here, and I've got like my resume is also here if you want to grab that. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we can just drop the link. I'll drop the link in the YouTube chat, and if anyone
Okay.
wants to check it out, they're
Yes.
more than welcome
Yes.
to.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So yeah.
And Darren, tell something more about your Flipkart job.
Oh, so I don't know anything yet about my job at Flipkart. Like all I know is my title is product designer,
Okay.
and I'll be working at the Bellandur office in
Oh, in
Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay. Welcome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah, I
stole
was
it
just
with.
talking to Sean about it yesterday. He came over.
Okay.
So
And since this is a third batch that is going out, how are the placements in IIT Bombay?
So uh, placements are okay. Okay, like so, um, we just finished one round of placements.
Hmm.
Actually, a lot of BDES students don't sit for placements because so 10 of the BDES students get the option of doing a master's in
Yes.
5 years,
Yes.
right? The combined
Correct.
program.
Yes. Correct.
So a lot of the BDES students, like 10 guys straight away take that,
Hmm.
and this time around nine or 10 more sat for placements, and I think all of them got placed if I'm not wrong.
Okay. And what is the pay scale that are being
Pay
offered?
scale. So the
Pay
pay
scale, yeah.
scales. So the the yearly compensation is from it starts from around 6 7 LPA to about 6 7 LPA to I think the highest is about 14 LPA. So
14. Okay. 6
yeah,
to 14, is it? Okay.
6 to 14. Yeah, it's a big range. So all the day and they arrange the placements on multiple days. So the 14 LPA companies will generally come on day one. Uh,
Ah, right.
yeah, so they'll come on the first day and they pick students as they go along. So
All right.
so yeah, and there's generally two rounds of two phases of placement. So one round just got over, and there'll be another one I think in Feb or something, or in Feb or March.
Okay.
So
Okay.
for like for the guys who didn't get placed this time, there's another round.
Hmm.
And generally they're like I think almost everyone will get placed because there are all these companies like TCS and L&T and all which take like a lot of people. Like so there's we call them mass recruiters, right? I'm sure you're familiar. So
Right.
uh, so yeah, so these guys take a lot of people and they generally pay around 6 to 7, 6 to
Okay.
8 also some of them, yeah.
6 to 8. All right.
So even Geo is ramping up design a lot right now.
Is
So
it?
Geo is hiring a lot of designers and they're paying also pretty well.
Okay.
So
Okay. 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 Nice, cool.
yeah.
So we have spoken more about the UCEED, the strategy and etc. It is pretty much similar strategy for the other entrance exams, but we'll be having more focused webinars, for example, for NIFT, for NID, and etc. Okay, so please subscribe to the channel, stay tuned, and we will come up with more interesting such talks and conversations. Okay, so right, I'm not sure, Amisha, if you have any work to share. I'm just asking if you have anything that you can share, like.
Coursework, actually, we started like a month ago or something,
Okay,
and we're just starting with like really basic stuff, just color studies and stuff like that.
okay,
So, yeah, it's not very interesting to look at.
but sure,
It's
I
just
mean,
very
get
random, actually.
understanding. Yeah, I mean, if you have with you handy, you
I
can.
have a couple of rough sketches for my drawing class. I can share my screen.
Okay, sure, sure. Okay, let me
Oh,
just give you the access.
yeah.
Okay, need to focus.
Mm, yeah, so these are just a couple of sketches we've been doing for our drawing class.
Mhm,
So a couple of
mhm.
still lives and yeah, it's just very basic stuff.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. So these were done in semester one, is it, for your
Yeah,
fine art
yeah.
classes in Bombay? Okay.
Yeah, it's like a introduction to drawing kind of class.
Okay.
So that's what we've been doing.
All right.
And there's some design fundamentals classes, but that's just color explorations, just throwing a lot of color everywhere. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great. Awesome. All right. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, and we wish you guys all the best. And Darren, have fantastic future career ahead. Okay, starting with Flipkart, but your career will flip definitely. Okay, way forward, right?
Thanks
Yeah,
so much.
All right. So
fantastic.
yeah.
One
And
more one
Tanisha,
more piece
yes,
of information I need to share. Um,
yeah, I do.
we are going to be doing a few more webinars like this, specifically on the 18th of Jan. We're going to talk about handling creative ability tests and general ability tests for NIFT 2021. Um, so that's going to be on the 18th of Jan. 11th of Jan, that's next week's topic, is also going to be relevant to UCEED and CEED. So please subscribe to the DQ Labs YouTube channel. You will get to know what webinars we are going to have. So just to be updated, please subscribe, and it will help you out. Okay.
All right. Okay. Cool. Dion, so can we stop the session, or any points that you talk about?
No, that's about it for now.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
All right.
Great then. Okay. So thanks all of you once again, and thanks to all the students who are keenly watching on YouTube. Okay. So as Dion has said, please subscribe, and we will meet you in the further sessions as well. Okay. So let me just